Alexa. Quito la plancha. Hola, Alexia. Hello. Hola, corazón. Bien, bien, bien. Hola, Estefanía. Hola, hola. Hola, Karen. Ay, ¿y si no admitimos a nadie más? Con ustedes me quedo. Muy bien. Buenos días a todos. Oh, estoy tirando la casa, chicos. Esperen. Gracias, Mari Carmen. Hola, Karen. Me estoy acomodando. Hola, corazones. Hello. ¿Qué tal la cuarentena? Sí, porque... ¿Me escuchan bien? Sí, todo bien. Súper. Hola, Domingo. Hola, hola, hola. Pues aquí andamos. Vamos a dejar como un minutito, chavos, para que se vayan metiendo todos, porque luego me agarro acá en el rollo y la gente se sigue metiendo y me desconcentran. Entonces, un minutito, son 11:04, a ver si en un minutito ya podemos empezar. ¿Sale? ¿Quién está bostezando? ¿Qué es eso? Todas mis clases de modales, ¿qué pasó? A ver, ay, ¿dónde está Google Meet? ¡Ah! Ya, perdón. Se me vale. ¿Cuántos son ya? 12, no, muy poquitos. A ver, vamos a esperar un poquito más. Oh, que la canción. Hola, Edgar. Hola. ¿Qué tal? Muy bien, vamos a esperar un poquito, les estaba diciendo porque son muchos y pues para que luego no nos anden interrumpiendo, ¿verdad? Restaurante. Ande, pues, restaurante Cuatro Caminos, ¿quién eres? Ah, Belén, sister, ¿no me dijiste que tenías un restaurante? ¿Y qué venden? Oh, ¿en Tapalpa por dónde? ¿Por la frontera? ¡Ah! ¡Oh! ¿Dónde se para el camión o enfrente de donde se para el camión? ¡Oh! Belén, pero habrás dicho, pues voy mucho, pero ¿cómo es posible que no me hayas dicho? ¡Qué barbaridad! No, jamás. ¿Y nomás pregunto por mi mamá o qué? ¿Qué hago? A ver. ¿Nomás pregunto por mi mamá o qué hago? Muy bien. Muy bien, muy bien. Muy bien. Muy bien, son 18, un poquito más, a ver. ¿Ya han tenido clase antes que yo? Ah, ya, entonces están despiertos entonces. A medias. Okidoki. Ya este fin de semana les va a tocar una tareita, ¿va? Muy sencilla. Los voy a poner a comparar pirámides poblacionales. A ver qué sacan de ahí. Okay, guys, we're going to begin. So everybody go to mute, please. Everybody go to mute. Ay, ¿vieron que activé los subtitles? For anybody that wants to mute me, you can read. You don't? In the chat. Yes. A mí sí me aparece. How weird. Well, anyways, okay, I'm going to invite Amanda, so everybody behave. Okay, guys, everybody go to mute. Economics with sexto de TMCB, right? TMCB de 11 a 11. Está, vale. Today. Now. Okay, dokie, guys, let's begin. Marcelo. Hello, Marcelo. Hello, Estefania. Already then. So we're going to begin. Can you see my blackboard? Well, my whiteboard. Already then. So as you remember, last time we were looking at some statistics. We said we mentioned the definition of macroeconomics as opposed to microeconomics. Okay, micro means it's going to be explaining all the individual decisions in a competitive market, and macroeconomics is like we're going to analyze the picture as a whole. Okay, as a system. So we're going to see the monetary system, the banking system, why we're going to deepen a little bit more on inflation rates, like why, why a lot of coins, a lot of currencies go up, others go down, etc. Okay, and well, we were looking at some population pyramids. Did I get to that part with you guys? Did we look at the Mexican, Japanese, and German population pyramids? Yes? Okay. Now, some observations. Okay, we're going to go back a little to that. And, oh, it's pending. I need to send you the presentation. Some observations. We can have 3 types of pyramids, population pyramids. And population pyramids tell you a lot about the past, the present, and the future of a nation. Hello, Santiago. Okay, so first of all, we have like all the Latin American countries. Yes, sweetie? Hi. Okay, so we can have many sizes, many shapes of population pyramids. Obviously, even though they're scaled the same, you know that each country has a difference in population. I mean, that's obvious. It's not the same to have like an Indian population pyramid, although it may seem the same size and the same size of bars, because it's not drawn to scale, okay? And comparing it to a 25 million people country like Peru, for example, it's not the same to have like a billion people country and a 27 million country. I mean, it's drawn in the same size, but that doesn't represent that the countries are the same in population, okay? That's one observation. Another observation is that, as you saw, the population pyramid is divided into bars. I mean, you can see the silhouette as a pyramid, as a trompo de carne al pastor, or as like a rectangle, a vertical rectangle. But in reality, what shapes or what makes the shape of a pyramid, this and that, are the bars. And did you notice that the bars are divided into females and males? That's going to be very important for interpretation. Remember that statistics and mathematical models are not important because we know how to solve them. In many cases, especially in economics, you are going to have computer-based software that, hello, Amanda, we're going to have computer-based software that calculates that for you. What's up to you is the interpretation, okay? So in the first type of population pyramid, we're going to have the triangle shape, and that means that children, young people, and people that are economically active are going to be the bottom and the base of the pyramid, and that means a healthy economy, okay? A healthy economy because, first of all, we're replacing the generations probably were growing, but at a very slow rate. Now, what would mean that is growing at a very fast rate and there is a population spread, like the baby boomers in United States after World War II? Okay, men come back from war and they obviously mate with their mates. And well, nature, bees, flowers happen, and we have a population boom. And that's why that generation is called the baby boomers, because it was, you can see, as a matter of fact, you can see the bulk. You can see a growth in that generation that right now is like on 60 something, okay, 60 something, 70 something years old. Those are the people that fought the war, and they were well, they're not the ones that fought the war. They're the children of the ones that fought the war. Okay, so here we have one shape. Then the other one is like a sand watch. We have like a shrinking space in the middle, and then we go to the base, okay, with a wide bottom. Now, what does this mean? Well, the same, that we're gonna have from people that are probably getting to their 40 years old until people that are retiring, we have a very small population. That is always dangerous because, as we mentioned last time that we had class, if you have a very small generation here supporting a bigger generation, bigger in size, then all your benefits, retirement and compensation benefits for people that are working for you as the government, and hello Stephanie, is going to just crumble down because you have not enough resources to pay for these people pensions and these people's benefits. Okay, because obviously when we change the benefits programs for healthcare, for education, free education, you know that in United States, for example, the educational system is basically like 95% of the educational institutions are totally public and totally free. And we have a very small number of private schools in elementary, middle school, and high school. So on top of that, they give you the school material. They give you the books, they give you a lot of things. They give you, sometimes I think that when I went to high school, they even gave me the uniform, the PE uniform. I didn't have to buy it. They pay for your toga, they pay for so many things. And well, that has to come from somewhere. And obviously it comes from taxes, but also it comes from accumulated, accumulated payments of older generations. So if money is not enough, that means when we have like a shortage of population, then a lot of these benefits and government programs are going to be in danger. Okay, and then we have like a very rectangle population pyramid shape. It's like the United States. It means it's replacing itself. It means it grows, but it doesn't grow that fast like this one, or it's not changing like this one. Okay, so this is very important. Why we mentioned last time also that why are we dividing the age ranges in such a way? Okay, in such a way. Well, because age 5, age 65 are very, very important. And right now I'm going to share a screen, okay, so that you can look at one of the pyramids. Hold on a second. Only for a little while, I'm going to, okay. ¿Alguien puede activar su micrófono y decirme si está viendo la presentación, por favor? Gracias, corazón. Okay, so here's a Mex. ¿Tú no lo ves? A ver. ¿Qué será? A ver, vamos a esperar un poquito, que a veces se tarda. A veces se tarda la señal. ¿Ya pudiste? Ah, okay. Anyone else is having issues? No? Okay, I just want you to I want to project these because I want you to notice again the age divisions, okay? Why are we marking age 5 as a very important like turning point? Well, that's going to matter a lot for the educational system. The number of schools that we're going to need, the number of books that we're going to need, the number of educational programs we're going to need depend on how many children are going into school. So to meet demand, because supposedly in most countries elementary education is compulsory, it's obligatory, it's a right. So that means that there should be in utopia and Zootopia, okay? In utopia, there should be enough seats in a public school in elementary levels for every single children that there is. This is very important for their government to know and to realize. If they don't have a hold of the population and the division of this population in age ranges, then they're going to miss out on a lot of decisions. That's why we were talking about the other day that macroeconomics, one of the purposes is to help governments make good decisions with enough information. If you don't possess information, you have to generate it. You have to project it. Okay, for example, right now in the COVID circumstance, okay, we don't have any past statistics or any past information, although we have had influenza, we have had dengue, we have had other diseases. However, we don't have an exact scenario or how things are going to develop. So in those cases, we need to go to mathematical models. And that's what the University of Guadalajara did with their little famous function that forecasts the future, and they're telling us in what phase we are and how many days are calculated for everything to be over and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so when we do not have enough information from the past that can make up for statistical models, then we need to go, okay, for generating some models so that we can forecast the future. And we generate it. If there's no information, we generate the information, okay? So here's that one, and here's the other two. You see? You see how different they are and how Germany and Japan are going to face a very, very humongous crisis whenever they go there. No wonder why these countries sometimes favor, independently on the ideology, religious beliefs and principles, these countries, the Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, Norway, they favor assisted suicide policies and like free abortion policies and free lethal injection thingies, like all these type of policies that, I mean, moral principles aside, they're going to favor the diminishing, okay, the action of the need of diminishing the population that is getting there. Because if they pass the line of the retirement age at around 67 or 70 years old, and we are going to have obviously people that are elderly, you know that they're more inclined or they're more probable to have a lot of diseases, or well, just a decreasing capacity for mobility and all these other functions. So that's why we need to favor the shrinking of this population, okay? Those are measures that obviously go against the ethical principles, and you need to know that, okay? Although in this class, we're only going to see the economic upsides and the downsides of these matters. So, okay. Do you have any questions on population pyramids? Because the homework is going to be about these population pyramids. I'm going to give you some countries. You're going to have to look for them. I'm going to give you the links, and you're going to have to compare and analyze some questions that I'm going to throw at you. Okay? Do you have any questions? You're so smart. Everything clear. Okay, let's go back now to, I don't know, hold on, because I'm still trying to see what's going on with my life. Sí, gracias. Dejar de compartir. Now you're looking at me? Okay, perfect. So now some things that are not a very good sign when population is declining. Okay, we need to obviously another topic that is thrown here when we talk about population growth and population decline is, as I told you last time, the identity thing, the nationalistic identity issue. I mean, some of these races, Italy, for example, Italy, I think Italy has a worse pyramid than Germany, and Germany is pretty bad. We're facing a race in extinction. We're facing some national values and iconic traditions that may fade away. So some people are against that. I mean, just like we are in Mexico here, so concerned about indigenous people and their traditions and uses and customs. I mean, it seemed very, very positive to promote as the government many programs so that we can preserve some of these traditions, even though they may seem some primitive, but it's seen as a positive thing. So in the same way, in Europe, it is very threatening, the situation of a diminishing population, because they're getting their labor force from immigrants. For example, in France, it's like, I think I read like a year ago or something like that, that 40% of their labor force, especially in some levels of types of jobs, they come from Africa. They come from Africa, and obviously they have a Muslim tradition. I mean, no discriminatory commentaries, but French people were very concerned about their national identity. They're like, if we do not have replacements because people are not having children, then how are we going to overcome, or how are we going to pass our culture to the next generation? It's only going to be in a book, in a history book, and that's it, and it's over for them. So some of the things that we can observe, everything has advantages and disadvantages, looking at it in a very objective way. Okay, obviously there's an upside to population decline, but I think there are more downsides. For example, fewer schools means less job demand. As we drew the curves of demand and supply for shampoos and for cereals and for milk and for any good, you name it, okay, we would have to calculate the equilibrium point for the next generations in decade after decade of the schools that are going to be needed so that they meet demand. Okay, and well, obviously that is going to include a budget allocation of resources that maybe, well, as Mexico's economy seems, we don't have. Okay, we don't have that many resources, and that's also going to hit the jobs demand. All the people like me that are dedicated to the educational system, well, we're going to be out of a job, because if the base of the pyramid is shrinking, then not only the race is going to reduce, but blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, another thing very different is for the environmental purposes. Obviously, that's another discourse and other factors that we have to take into account. But economically, well, there would have to be some way to reduce the bad impact on the economy from a diminishing population. Another thing is that the prices would drop in houses. Okay, that's actually something positive. For example, okay, if you have more houses unoccupied, since there's less quantity demanded, that means that the price is going to lower, right? Remember, the price is going to rise if more houses, if the quantity demanded is lowering. Okay, so the curve would have to shift all the way so that we can get to the equilibrium again. So that's something to think about. And finally, less turnover for businesses. Obviously, if you have a population that is actively productive, or they're in their, for example, from their 25 years old to their 60 something years old, they are the people that are traveling, that are buying things, that are investing in their future, buying houses, buying cars, buying motorcycles, buying everything. And so if that population is like here in Europe, that we have these like sunglass shape pyramid, which is not a pyramid anymore. Okay, we have these very slim, then that means that these people are making businesses have less earnings, and that means there's a shrinking economy. And shrinking the economy is always a bad thing. Okay, always a bad thing. And finally, we started seeing some of these statistics, and we have seen this before, okay, in the first partial, and we have seen it in past classes. I just want to point something out. You need to have this in your notebook. Okay, the gross domestic product, as we were already saying, is the Producto Interno Bruto. That is the measure in which we're going to decide, or we're going to appreciate an economy's growth. Okay, now remember what I told you. I know you've forgotten everything that I've told you before, but you have to remember that the wealth of a country does not come from the assets that they actually have, or they don't come only from the money that they actually and really have in the reserves. Because there's a lot of floating money. For example, the credit system is based upon floating money. It's a concept. The interest that you accumulate from this and that and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, they are not like just popping out like popcorn in the reserves. What's it called? In the vaults reserves of the banks, of the national banks. I mean, it's not like magic. Magically, they appear. All right. So there's a lot of floating money. And if everybody right now goes to the bank and tries to retrieve their savings, obviously the bank system is not going to be able to return the money or to give you the cash. Okay. There's not as much cash, like circulant money. Okay, we have things invested in assets, in goods, in services, and obviously when we calculate the wealth of a nation, as Adam Smith stated in 1776, as you already know because you presented it, he stated that the wealth of a nation pertains or is a product of their capacity to make something, to create something. So like if a person in the 15th day of the month just spends all his paycheck, okay, he has no more money for going into the 16th day of the month or the 17th or the 18th day, that doesn't mean that he is poor or that he is destitute. It means that he has the capacity to produce more money. He can go and sell ice cream, he can go and sell lemonade on the streets, he can produce some money, okay? Now remember, money is like matter in physics. It does not create itself, okay? It has to be transformed, okay? That's very, very important. The only way to create money or create wealth that then is put into money terms is to work more and to produce more, etc., okay? So here's the GDP. That's the indicator that is going to show us how much a country is worth, or how much a country is producing. And here in Mexico, we're pretty good. As a matter of fact, we are the 11th economy. Now, I think we have risen, we have gone up a little, because the statistics that I'm using are from 2017. The only number that was updated for 2020 is the population one. But the rest has not been calculated yet. Okay, so the GDP for Mexico is 2,463 trillion US dollars. Okay, that means if we're talking about in American Anglo-Saxon terms. So if a million has 6 zeros, a billion has 9 zeros because it's 1,000 million. A trillion would be 1,000 billion. So if it's 6 zeros for a million, 9 zeros for a billion, it would be 12 zeros for a trillion. That's a lot of zeros anyways, okay? Then remember, we calculate GDP per capita because obviously the country, we are the 10th biggest country in the whole wide world, okay? We switch with Japan. Japan has gone right now in this little update after us. Obviously, China and India are at the top with their humongous population. And correspondingly, China has the number one GDP of the whole world. Now, logically, India should have the second GDP, the biggest GDP in the world because it's the second biggest population, but it's not. It's the United States. Okay? That's one of the cases or one of the examples when having a big population doesn't mean that you are all that. And it indicates a maldistribution of wealth, and it indicates that the country is not so wealthy, okay? And for that precisely, we get an average. So the GDP per capita is the average. Is the GDP, the total GDP, divided by all the people that are there. Now, what's the downside to calculating the GDP per capita? Well, not everybody is producing. This division, this average, is not fair because a baby that is 4 months old, he is not producing anything. Or an elderly person of 75 years old, he's not producing much. He's probably still producing, especially if he's a businessman or he's still working, but he's not producing much. So dividing things up equally doesn't give you an exact picture of how the country's economy is looking. However, it's a very good measure for indicating how well resources are distributed. Obviously, when we calculate the GDP per capita, we get a 19,900 US dollars. Now, I did the math here, and well, 19,900 US dollars. If we calculate it in the old exchange rate, we can get 417,900 Mexican pesos. Just pretending that the dollar is still going to be costing after the quarantine is over, 21 pesos approximately. So if we divide that quantity by 12, we get 34,825 Mexican pesos. That's the income, the calculated average income based on the GDP of the whole country, okay? And this is the monthly income. And then if we divide it by 2 to get the bi-weekly income, then we get 17,412.5. Now, this is totally unrealistic. This doesn't happen, okay? If you get Carlos Slim's paycheck, you would notice that this quantity is like a mocking statement for him. This is the least that he has in his pocket, probably. But if you throw this number at somebody that belongs to that 40% here below the poverty line, 46.2% of people are living below the poverty line is fixed by the United Nations, then obviously these people are going to say, we don't get 17,000 pesos cada quincena. That's unrealistically, total unrealistic, okay? That's not happening, ever. Never they have seen this type of money together, okay? They could sell their whole house and add up all the items that they sold, and they wouldn't get as near, not even near, to this total. Okay, so this is statistics is one start, okay, one start to, well, to divide the population, to kind of like approach this economic situation of the country right now, here and now, okay? But it's not, doesn't say anything, okay? These calculations, these indexes have they have a barrier. They have a stop, they have a limit, they don't say anything. This is not real. It may be real for some part of the middle class of Mexico, but it's not real for everybody else. And as we can see, 46% of the Mexicans, they don't live like this. Not even close. Not even close. Okay? And then, well, we have one of the big problems. I think this called your attention last time that we saw these. One of the problems is that from the GDP, obviously, we have budget revenues. We allocate resources into different accounts. This is for a school. This has to go for national defense. This has to go blah, blah, blah. This is one of the criticisms that they make the third world countries. Well, they're not called that anymore, but the very developed, the low developing countries, that's one of the demands that they make to the first world countries. Because, for instance, United States spends more than 40% of their GDP budget on national defense. So, like, if you sell one of those airplanes that go invisible and have and can be flown. You can fly it as a drone, like by remote control. Then you can probably feed, I don't know how many people. Okay, cities and cities and cities and towns and towns and towns. And probably, well, they have a lot of people that are living under the poverty line too, and they don't have it as a priority. They don't have a very good welfare system either. They have a welfare system, but it's not one of the best in the world. Okay, and well, here's one of the problems for the unhealthy Mexican economy. The budget revenues is 261.4 billion US dollars. Okay, 261.4 billion dollars. That's how much Mexico earns per year. Now, look at the expenditures, $273.8 billion per year. That means that we're spending, what's the difference? 73 minus 61? I don't know, like 12, something like that. $12 billion we spend more than we earn. So public debt is all the time and constantly growing. And finally, we were saying that the inflation rate in Mexico it's 6%. And if you compare it to the Venezuelan case, which you are an expert in Venezuela nowadays because of the last project in the last partial, well, if you compare it, Venezuela has closed in 2,430.6% rate of inflation, while Mexico has closed 2019 with 3.25%. So even from 2 years ago, 6%, Mexico has lower. We would have to calculate these years' inflation rates, okay? And we would have to trust the sources that are saying the truth, because, we can be fooled also. Okay, so do you have any questions, guys? Let me switch to you. Hello. A ver, actívense. Ay, qué bonitos son. Okay, guys, so you're going to have a little homework that has to do with pyramids, okay, with the population pyramids. I'm going to assign by list number, I'm going to assign some countries, and you're going to have to go to the website that I really like. Remember that we've worked with it in past presentations. Look, I'm just going to show you. For example, if I give Karen Acosta, ay, Jesucristo. A ver. If I give Karen Acosta, let's say Italy, okay? So we would have to this webpage. You can look for it at CIA World Fact Book, just like that. CIA World Fact Book, and it's going to be your first entry. You're going to go to that webpage, and I love it because you can go to, what did I just say? Italy. It's by alphabet, so you can go to your India, Italy. Okay, let's go to Italy, and it's just by clicking in the country, it's gonna give you all the generalities, the general information, the geographic information, blah, blah, blah. You go for people, okay, it's going to be under the people tab, and you're gonna go to the pyramid. Here's the age structures, and that's that. That's the pyramid. Parece un trompo de carne al pastor, ¿sí o no? Está todo gordo en medio. Entonces, si la gente from 50 to 49, from 45 years old to 54, and we can say one more, 59 years old, these people are not retired yet. And remember that I told you last time, one of the measures, and I think is not very ethical, is that countries and governments and companies are pushing back the retirement age. I know that because my parents are categorized within this area. And when they started working, we moved to the United States. I remember that the retirement age was 62. Then as time kept on passing, the age for retirement was pushed back to 65. And now it's pushed back to 67. And if you do not retire at the exact same requisite age that they set for the system, for the whole system, then when they calculate your monthly payment, your pension, even though you have paid, even though it's been fair, even though you entered the labor market in another period of time under other laws, it doesn't matter. You're gonna still be calculated under the laws that are right now. So it's not retroactive. It's going to apply for you. And I think it's not fair. I mean, my parents, as an example, they are very fit and they are very healthy. But I know that other parents, other grandparents that are within those ages are not so well in what comes to their health. So here you can read this image description. They're gonna give you kind of like some things, and I'm gonna ask you some questions, okay? Let's go, for example, to a very, very humongous populated country. Let's go to India. Let's go to India. A, B, C, H, I. India. Okay, blah, 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 quién sabe qué. And we go to People and Society tab, and we are gonna look for that. That's a pyramid. Okay, that's a pyramid. That means if it's shaped like that, it means that we're replacing blah, blah, blah. But you can look at it, and if we compare it to the Mexican pyramid, let me see. See, our pyramid is still healthier. Because when does a pyramid that actually looks like a pyramid stops being healthy? Here we're replacing Mexicans, we're growing at a slow rate, but here in India, they're growing at a very fast rate. And that obviously breaks the equilibrium of the whole system, the economic, education, national defense, health programs, etc. Because you have to, as a government, provide for all of these people if they get sick, if they get blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. Okay? So those are some of the questions that I'm going to ask for your individual homeworks during this weekend. All right? The population pyramids tell us a lot about the past, the present, and the future of nations. And as we analyze some of these statistics, the most important thing is our capacity of interpretation, because numbers are only numbers and they're calculated by machines, and machines do not have brains. Humans have brains. So that's why we have to make an effort to analyze and interpret and recognize and identify the downsides and the flaws of some statistical models. Even though the numbers may show something, they may help us, but up to some limits, okay? Machines do not do everything, and numbers and economic models and mathematical models do not mean an absolute truth, okay? We need to interpret them. Already? So, ¿cómo le digo que? Yeah. Are you looking at me? Okay, guys, that's everything for today. So wait for my homework. And if you don't have any further questions, that's it. Tip. Okay. I miss you too, guys. I miss you a lot. I hope we go back soon. Bueno, ¿tienen clase ahorita? No. Hasta en un rato. Hasta los de bilingüe, ¿verdad? Bueno, esta. Hi, Amanda. Ah. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Take care. Chaito. And terminar emisión. Finalizar.